Hello, I'm Otto, and welcome to episode 12 of my Factorio Space Age Guide. So in the last episode, we set up some green circuits. I honestly forget what else we did because it's been a couple of days, and I'll explain that in a bit. Also, at the end of the last episode, I went through and killed some biters, and oh, that was fun. I almost died a couple times. So if you didn't watch any of that, yeah, that was little fun. So I killed some biters over here, cleared out some area down here. I intentionally left these down here, and I have a very specific reason why we're doing that, and we will get into that sometime at a later point. I also had a comment asking about some of the roboports from my last guide, and I should probably mention that all of these ghosted roboports will be placed by the biters at some point. And if they had the ability to just plant all of these at once, this would really destroy your power. So I might even go through and just remove a lot of these at some point before we activate the bots, just so that they don't go too crazy. And then we can kind of work that out. So like I said, it's been a few days, more than a few actually, since I made the green circuit build. So um, generally the way that I've done things with previous guides is or my last guide, I literally like drafted the entire thing. I knew everything about what was going to happen before it was happening. And this time around, I was like, you know what? I am confident enough that I can probably just start working on it. And if I'm not done, I didn't plan on completely finishing Space Age before we actually. Ooh, that was way more than I intended. Um, I wasn't planning on finishing Space Age, but I was considering doing like a mix. Like maybe I'll complete the first half of the game, then start editing, and then the second half while the first half is being posted over time. Um, and this time, like I said, I wanted to. It just got at the point. Got to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna start doing it, and we'll see how it goes. And I've had a lot of concepts in mind, and some of them largely revolved around this. Largely revolved around having gears on the bus. So I needed to make sure that those concepts were gonna work out, and those concepts mostly revolved around our shopping mall. And so I tested the shopping mall before even starting the Gears video. And I think I might have even mentioned that I had worked on like multiple different iterations. And you know what? I'm not even gonna, I'm not even gonna just talk about it. I'm just gonna show you. Um, so yes, this is, these are the different iterations of attempts that I made at different shopping malls, but I can just briefly go over them. So the idea that I initially had was I wanted anything that we're collecting 100% to be on top, and I wanted to span the majority of the city block. And I definitely had some issues. Like in this section, I had to jump materials over to the other side, and we're still going to end up doing that to a smaller degree, but I generally just wasn't happy with it. I was like, you know what? I can make this more compact. So then that led me to the second round where I was like, okay, well, what if I bring belts through the middle? So I was like, okay, this is a little bit different than this one. This one was just bringing materials in from the outside and working them in. But I absolutely struggled with anything that needed pipes, let's say, because all these materials were just a complete pain to put in here. I wanted to make sure I had elevated rails and, all the things that we're going to need. Even if we don't use them all on Novice, I wanted to make sure that we had a solid foundation going into the Space Age DLC. So then I started working on this, and I was like, well, okay, well, maybe I can have a first section instead of here where it's broken up into 3 major sections. This one, and this one. Well, what if I had, a major section for the first half, and then like a second half. So that's a lot of what's going on here. Sorry. Here. This was the start of that. And then as I started messing around, I was like, you know what? I don't think that I can make this other one work with all of these, everything that needs pipes. So this is the third. This is the third iteration. And I think I had, sorry, this is the third iteration. And this one, as you can see, this is not necessarily what you would expect from me. I actually recorded a video with this, and I was very unhappy with it. I just was like, you know what? I'm going to just cram it all in there. We're going to cram everything in there the best that we can. So I was like, yes, we're just going to cram it all in there. We're going to make it work. And once I started setting this up, for starters, as you know from watching my videos up to this point, we are making everything on the top side of the belt. And this was a little bit of a mistake leading into that, because I realized, you know what, not only am I working on the bottom side of the belt, which is what I'm most used to when working on a shopping mall, I'm going to have to like flip it. So I flipped it here and was largely working off of this to set up my video. And like I said, I recorded the entire video and I was like, I am still not happy with it. Like, it was just a miserable time recording the video. And I was like, you know, my wife is always like, oh, anytime you're like a little upset about something, it really comes out in your voice. Anytime you're excited about something, it really comes out in your voice. If you're tired, that comes out. If you're energetic, that comes out. So even she could tell that I was not quite happy with that video. And then I spent the next, like, I don't even know how much time creating what we will ultimately end up with. So this is a little sneak peek at what we have coming up in the next couple of episodes. Okay, so let's get into it. I need a little bit of a measuring stick. Now, I've been doing 2 out. That was maybe a little bit of a mistake. I'm not going to redo all this, but I think going forward, we're going to continue with just having 3. It's just a little bit extra room, and we're going to have quite a bit of stuff coming in on this side. Once we get there, we're not going to do all this in one go. So let's get down to what we need. So I need materials coming in here, and I need materials coming in here, and then there will also be some somewhere here in the middle. But I largely want the first section that comes in to line up with our measuring stick. So this is where we're going to have things coming in to start with. And I'm also going to, that's probably not enough. And also still not enough. I need to go up to here. Okay, so let's start from here, and oh my gosh, and the not ghosting. Okay, so this first lane will be iron plates, and it will be gears. The second lane will be green circuits and red circuits. So you know what, I'm just gonna start stamping stuff down. So in the first guide that I made, the spacing was quite a bit farther apart. There was a whole building worth in the middle, and I was like, you know what, if I'm making gears, I can probably get away with having these close. So that's what we've done. These are quite a bit closer. So if you remember from the starter base, these are kind of grouped in 3. These will be grouped into 3, and the blue belts will also be grouped into 3. So we're going to do something similar here. This will be yellow belts. This will be the yellow undergrounds, and this will be the yellow splitters. And then we've got red, we've got yellow, and we've got, whoops, not yellow, red undergrounds and red splitters. I probably should have done it more like this. No, I can't do that. I don't know how many we're going up, but let's just assume that we're going to need some. Okay, so then I'm going to have some belts coming in here. Out there. Some belts coming in here as well. So there's a couple of things that we need to know. One, when we drag something through to the other side, so let's say that we had something that needs to be underground, something like this. These belts over here cannot be here, or this material is going to run onto this belt at some point. So these needed to be a little bit spaced out so that we could have maybe the potential to put something into the, 1, 2, 3, third tile on the building and not run into these buildings. So this needs to have this spacing. This spacing here is largely here just to make the logistics of setting things up a little bit easier because you have the splitters coming off. And I don't think that I ended up with too many exceptions, but what we're going to end up doing is anything that can be or that will be collected will be in a box exactly in the middle above the item. So, and you know what, we're going to stop using ghosts because this video is already going to be long enough. And I had a little bit of a diagram that I used in the past, so I'm going to use that again. Get rid of some of these rocks. So you can set this up in creative mode. I'll probably have a, maybe I'll make one that kind of references roughly where you're going to put things based on, oh, come on. Based on how we're going to have things lined up. So I might do that. I'll leave a blueprint in the description. That way, if you wanted to copy what I'm doing by getting all of these things that have the red slashes through them, you can... Oh, come on. Landfill. I'm hitting F to collect all these, by the way. And these are assembling machine rank 3. Awesome, go me. I'm going to Alt U and downgrade all of these. So now I can take things that I do not have researched yet and place them where they are going. Okay, so that's our belts, and then we are also going to have sections over here. We're going to hook the belts up. So I don't know how far I'm going to end up getting into this episode, but we're going to hook the belts up for the most part before we finish and end off. It's not going to be very like clear cut, like this is a good stopping point, this is a good stopping point. We're going to have a couple of episodes in a row where it's just all about building out this mall. These are going to be facing in, and this one is going to be facing in. This will be for our lubricant, which you can see here, and we'll get into that later. We just needed to make sure that we have this space. Okay, so this is going to be yellow inserters. This is going to be red inserters, blue inserters, and green inserters will be here. These will all have a chest. And I'm not going to connect a lot of this stuff until maybe the next episode. We will go through and do a lot of the circuit connections to make sure that we can set them up properly, and I just want to get a lot of stuff situated here before we end the episode. And yes, it was a huge pain. like to give you an idea, that like this city block test is where I've been doing a lot of the testing, and I have 45 and a half hours in that, and yeah, that can just give you an idea on how frustrating it was to set all this up. And those who know that there are eventually easier ways of doing it that... Oh, I just got rid of that one. No, no. There it is. That's what I was looking for. Assembler machine rank 3. Yeah, if I need those again, I'll just bring them back later. Anyways, that is good. Okay, so back to what we were doing. We are going to... I don't think that we've unlocked them yet. Let's take a look at the research. Let's do circuit network. We'll get some of the train stuff going. We're not going to do a lot with trains too early. What do we need for these? We need... Oh, we have to unlock oil. Unfortunately, the oil... we have to go collect the oil before we can make anything that needs the oil. So we're probably just going to drag a line down here. You know what? Let's just do that now. I'm just going to take the car. We're going to run it down. Yep. This was clearly not a good idea. Bet you didn't think you were gonna see me blowing up trees in this episode. Or, you know, running into trees with the car. Right? We're gonna be removing all of these anyways. I'm just gonna drag it down there. Just need to get it started. Yeah, this was probably a bad idea to do during this episode. You know what? Whatever. It is what... Ow! Excuse me. Yay, there we go. Oil research. Really, that's all we had to do was just tap it a little bit. It's a pain, but you know what? It is what it is. Okay, so let's get back up there. So now we can research other stuff. Yay. Plastic, sulfur, red circuits, and this is the modules. So I'm going to talk about modules once we actually are able to craft them. I might even dedicate like a whole video or half of a video to just modules. And a lot of that is going to be focused on quality and why you need to be careful with it. I've said in a previous video that I'm gonna end up making a not quite a guide. I don't know, like a little bit of a let's play or maybe a little bit of a guide on like I want to have a like full focus on quality playthrough, and yeah. Okay, so we like this one. This is largely not necessary, but I do like to have some labs created. So in the future, like in hindsight, I probably would just increase the amount that this one made and then just have them in storage somewhere. But you know what? We're here to have fun. So why not, right? And speaking of modules, this one will be productivity modules. This one will be quality. Nope, that is not how I had that set up. This is quality. This was efficiency and speed. Yes. And then I'm going to copy this because these are all going to be speed modules, which you will see why in the next episode. We're going to continue on with some of this, but anyways. So above these, we need okay, so this is going to be steel chests, and the steel chests are going to be like, some of this will be a little bit janky, like these being here, these are actually going to be to feed this one here, as you can see in the bottom right hand corner. We need 6 per second of these to craft 1.5 per second of the rank 3 assemblers once we get to that point. So we will have a little bit of a janky mess getting these down to it. It's gonna look something like this, and then we're gonna have to do some, like, I don't know, really weird stuff to get it in here, and you will see why later. But for now, we're just gonna leave that out. And then same with the chest. The chests are gonna be a little odd on their own. This will look something like this. And these will be, we do not have access to these yet. Yellow logistics chests, red logistics chests or provider chests. And this will continue on. There's a lot of X's on these buildings, I know. Okay. Let's try to remember that we have iron in the left lane, and then red and green circuits on this side, and this needs to be underground. So for the most part, this section, this half of the build will be relatively easy because we're pretty much just alternating, like going from one side to the next, and like whatever needs these items. So this needs, you can see in the bottom right hand corner, this needs green circuits. This one needs green circuits. Actually, you know what? I said I wasn't going to do too much of this, but you know what? Whatever. Let's just do it. So these will all need, and generally I'm going to try to prefer to put incoming things on the corners, either, you know, something like this. That way I can leave the middle freed up for moving into and out of chests. And as for power poles, we're going to end up putting the power poles in the middle like this. And that will be, I'm pretty sure I managed to do that for the entire thing. So this does end up working out. Something like that. Actually, I think I end up with this. In the guides before, I preferred not to take something off the sides. This will be a little bit different. Once we get into this section over here, you just kind of have to do whatever is necessary to get the stuff over here. So, yes. Okay, where were we? So this is iron plates and gears. So that covers this guy. He just needs iron plates. And the yellow belts. The yellow belts need iron plates and gears coming from here. And this needs green circuits, which are coming from the top, and iron plates, which are coming from the bottom, and the yellow underground belts. All of these will feed right into each other. Same with these. this needs gears. So we're gonna have another round of splitting here. So I think all of these need gears, right? Yes. All these need gears. So these will get the gears from the front section, these will get the gears from the back section, and these will get the gears from the front section. Gears, yellow undergrounds, that one's good. Gears, yellow belts, this one is good. And this one is getting the green circuits from the below, belt on below, and this one is getting the gears from the belt above. Okay, so that one's good. And we are going to set up everything for anything that we can't make yet as well. So now we're going to alternate and have, this is red and, red and green circuits. So this needs gears, which is coming from the bottom. This needs gears coming from the bottom. And this needs gears and red circuits. Gears coming from the bottom, red circuits coming from the top. And then nothing else needs circuits, but up here, both of these need red and green circuits. Right, so moving along. These do not need, so these have the red and green circuits. These will need red and green circuits. We need to leave room, as I said before, for these to come out here, which means these kind of need red and green circuits on the top and red and green circuits on the bottom. So this will definitely be red and green circuits here. And I did not put storage chests for these. And that means that this needs to be this needs to be iron plates and gears. So this one, transportation belt, needs both, which will come from here. This one needs the yellow belts, and it needs gears, and it needs green circuits coming from up here. And also, like, whenever I place things down, like if I had, for instance, this, something like that, I don't really want a situation like this. I want to try to take everything off the same sides of the belts when possible. Maybe sometimes that won't be possible, and you know what, that's okay. So then this would also need to be for these. All right, let's take a look at this side. Okay, so the yellow inserter, this is going to be basically just duplicated. We're gonna have the same thing here, and then on this side we're gonna have this, and then we're gonna have copper plates and steel, and those are all the materials coming in through here. Okay, so this needs green circuits here. And did this one not need it? It did not. So this needs iron plates and gears. They both need them. So this will have something coming from there, and they will be placed into the box. This one will need to continue on because the yellow inserter makes both the red and the blue. And then the miner also needs from these. So alternating, then this one will be actually, do I even, because we have things on both sides of the belt, I don't even really need anything to come in that isn't the iron gears and plates. Let's see. Wait a minute. Did I mess something up here? I did not. This will end up coming in here. Even if we're not like actually collecting, like for instance with this, like we don't want any of these. Even if we're not collecting these, we still want somewhere to place them if we have, like, if we break down a bunch of stuff. And this was not circuits, this was... because all of the circuits that we need can basically just come off the side. So this needs green circuits, it can just come off the side. This did not need anything besides... Oh, it needs yellow inserters. This needs green inserters, so it can just come right off the side here. And then it needed iron plates and gears. The green... and then, sorry, blue, and then we did not add an inserter for the iron plates. So the green, you can see on the bottom right, will need gears, red and green circuits, and the blue inserters. So we have the blue inserters coming from the storage, red and green inserters we have coming from the belt, and the gears we will have coming from this one here. This needs iron plates and gears, and we just ran out of blue inserters. Good for us. Okay, I'm gonna go grab some more. And then just a couple more things, and we will end this video. I will hook them all up in the next episode. Yeah, we'll just take them all. I need anything else for now? Doesn't look like it. Maybe some more assemblers. You know what? We can actually probably just go ahead and increase these. We're just gonna do 150. Let's do 200. We're gonna need a lot of them. I love seeing the miners emptying out like that. Okay, so this guy needs iron plates and gears, which we have coming from there. It needs green circuits, which we will have coming from the side. Outfeeds into this. This will then go into here. And then this is... Whoops. This item here, this is the first item that you generally make in this, in these malls that needs steel. And to be honest, this item is probably the sole reason why I was like, you know what, we're making this way bigger. And because we're like making a ton of items here, like it will cause, like a lot of these early ones will effectively steal everything from the items that are being created up here. But there's so much downtime most of the time in between how often you need things that it's completely okay. Like, we don't need them to be creating things fast. We just need them to be creating things. And as a result of that situation, if we did have certain circumstances where we need a bunch of things like back to back to back, instead of trying to increase the supply of the things coming in, we're instead just going to increase the buffer. So instead of having maybe like only 50 of these, maybe we had, you know, 150. So that way, you know, actually this is a bad example, but let's say something back here. I don't know, power poles, or I don't know. We're going to have a little bit more of a buffer. That way things are constantly, are more consistently being created. And then we will have the supply when the demand arises. All right, moving along. So this guy needs steel. So there's going to be some situations, this is not one of them, but in some situations we might even just do something like this. I'm going to try to avoid using longhand inserters. I know I use a couple of them. But to avoid using a long hand inserter here, because this is the way that you would reach this belt on the outside where the steel is, you could just have a splitter and bring it in like that. I'm generally not a fan of long hand inserters. I use them all the time, but I would prefer not to. In this case, though, since we have two items that need steel, this and the chests, then we will just go ahead and bring in this belt. I totally set this up wrong. Ah, no. And I already got rid of it, didn't I? I did. Alright, whatever. This is going to be the red. I was supposed to have these matched up together. Which means that this is also wrong. Yeah, something like that. Let me just get that blueprint back out. No big deal. Okay, so what else do we have over here? I'm actually not too worried about it. We're going to end the episode right here. Okay, so we've started to set everything up. We will continue setting this up in the next episode. And then I believe we might have time to start hooking some of this up. Maybe. You know what? We need to get steel in too because we do not have... I keep forgetting to put radar coverage. Alright, I'm going to get some radars too. We're going to have to do some funky stuff with the steel. So in the next episode, maybe we will start with the steel. Get that on the line. At some point, I'm going to have to tap the stone as well. We're going to have to do that before we get to this section. So maybe I'll continue on with this, and then we will do the steel. And then I'll end with just a sped through version of setting up the stone and the stone bricks. The stone bricks will be pretty straightforward. That'll be basically the same thing as the iron plates and the copper plates. The steel is going to need a little bit of discussion, though. We're going to have to do some interesting things with steel. Okay, so I'm going to end it there. I will see you in the next episode, and thanks for watching.